Hi everybody, Matt Geary for the Geek Pridecast on this Sunday evening. With me tonight we have Peter Ray Allison.
Hey, how you doing?
Josh Varney.
What's up, Danger?
And Jon Jo Cosgrove.
Good day to you all.
Gentlemen, our tricks, what have you been up to? What's exciting you in the land of geek at this moment in time?
I think probably one of the most anticipated things, kind of touched on it last week, was the starting of the cinema, starting to slowly prepare for its comeback.
How do you think they're going to do that? How do you think they're going to get people into the cinema? Do you reckon they're going to have like 2 seats where you can't go?
I think what it's going to be is there's going to be, I think they're going to keep the number of films that are out quite minimal. So say in a 10-screen cinema, 5 or 6 screens are going to be there for the newest release. So, and yeah, I reckon there's going to be a good couple of seats gap between every person because, you know, health and safety is obviously the biggest issue. It's trying to get people in the most convenient and easiest manner. But, you know, if people are going to be going in with gloves and masks, how are you supposed to eat your popcorn? How are you supposed to have your drink? You know, it's all these factors. But to me, I'm happy to go and sit in the cinema if I've got to wear a mask, if I've got to wear gloves. I even said before, I'll actually wear a fishbowl helmet if I have to go and watch a film, if I have to keep myself covered that way. Because apparently we've got Inception now is going to be the first film to try and bring people back because it's going to be the 10-year anniversary on the 17th of July. And then 2 weeks later, we now have Tenet, which has been delayed by a fortnight, but it looks good. And then there's Mulan, also supposed to be coming out end of July. We've still got Wonder Woman, Black Widow. And I think these big film releases, they're going to have their little bit of time to shine. And I reckon for at least the next few months, when these big films are out, it will be a cinema will only show 2 or 3 movies across their multiple screens. But yeah, I reckon they're only going to be about maybe 30% capacity because they can't fill it out. They can't expect people to be all next nudge to each other at this moment in time.
All right, okay.
That's what I'm thinking. I could be wrong. They might open view and they go, "Yep, Joe, it's a free for all. Sit wherever you want."
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, there's apparently urgent talks to review the 2-meter social distancing rule. So whatever that means, that will impact upon what happens at the cinemas. But still, are people going to be willing to go into a cinema? That is the main thing you have to ask.
Yeah, that's the thing. I am still. I'm not super bothered about being around people. I'm not the sort of guy who's like, you know, if somebody comes near me, I run off and stuff like that. I just I do this weird thing now that if I'm near anybody in a close vicinity, I kind of hold my breath in a sort of, so I'm not breathing on them and I'm not doing anything like that, sort of in their vicinity. But yeah, I don't know if I would go to the cinema. I love the cinema. I really, really love the cinema, but I'm not sure if I would go yet. Like all the shops and stuff are starting to open soon, and I've got no real massive inclination to sort of go out to the shops other than obviously food shopping at this moment in time. I do a lot of my shopping online. This whole thing's just made it, you know, it's just like, yeah, I'll just do it online. It's just
people will be avoiding unnecessary risks. That's the thing.
I think we're going to have some major changes for, you know, everybody's life in general going forward, and I think you're going to find that sort of online shopping is going to go up. You're going to have a lot of sort of markets, you know, a lot of sort of street shops that are going to have issues, I think, going forward. A lot of people are going to, you know, there'll be people who are sort of like my mum. My mum likes going to shops and buying things, tangible things that she can pick up and stuff, but because she can't, she's had to learn how to use things like, you know, Amazon and use online sort of shopping and stuff. So a lot of people are being forced into doing something that they're not used to, and it's potentially for the best. In certain ways, obviously, I like now and again. I don't go. The only things I will go into shops for are pretty much maybe sort of Games Workshop-y type stuff, so models and things. Because every now and again I like having a gander, so I can have a look at what's new. And now and again, when I need a new pair of shoes or something like that, I'll go into TK Maxx and TK Maxx only and sift through all the racks for something that's there that's, you know, half cheap and, you know, I like. If it's not there, I just walk out, and that's pretty much it.
I don't know if anyone else has had these emails. I had a few, including one from Game, saying about how obviously the shops are going to operate. With Game, I think was quite an interesting one. They said, you know, access to the shop is going to be absolutely fine. You can go and buy games. You could do trade-ins, pick up pre-orders. They're not allowing people to browse, though. So basically, if you know what game you want to get, they've got to find it for you. If they ain't got it, tough. You're basically out the door.
And that's an issue because I
like a browse.
I like a browse as well. I half the time when I walk.
I was going to say about your trips to TK Maxx. You know, you say about like looking through all the rows for your shoes. You know, you do that, no one's going to be able to buy shoes for the next 3 days. Yeah. So that's it. It's like, but that's it. They're saying like 72 hours is your breathing space. They're going to put all these items away into a storage area, or Waterstones are going to have a trolley out, and they say, oh, you know, if you pick up a book but you don't actually want it, please put it in the trolley so we can keep it away for 3 days. And it's good putting these things in place, but how many people are actually going to follow these rules?
I think that, you know, without being too cynical about it, I think the government's kind of hoping that people won't, and will just sort of kind of go coronavirus everywhere, and then sort of, you know, deal with it. I think, you know, the way there's a lot of stats flying around, and I don't know if they're, you know, when it comes out, when stats are involved, I'm always a bit dubious, simply because I deal with stats on a day-to-day basis when it comes to my work, and I know how stats can be manipulated very easily and stuff. So when people start throwing percentages and stuff at me, I'm just like, I don't know. But I think deep down, he's probably kind of going, let's just get as many people sort of kind of, you know, with it as possible, and then the whole herd immunity thing can kick in, and then that's, you know, there's less trauma for the economy then. So, but just me being cynical. I don't know. It could be. Who knows? We don't know.
The way I look at it is like, when Parliament stops social distancing, then so will I.
Yes. When the big wigs are getting close to each other, then all right, fine. You know, if you're willing to risk it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I think this is something that when it kind of makes me feel a bit angry, because you look at some places like New Zealand, like this week, they've basically said social distancing is no longer required. Basically, their way of life is almost back to normal. And it makes me think, well, hang on. They're now basically saying, you know, we don't need social distancing. We're all good. And then I look at the state we're in. We've got our officials, health advisors, and everyone in the UK saying, should we actually be opening these shops, because we're still quite high on this alert? And you know, I think it does wind you up a bit. You think, you know, we're not ready for this change yet. We're not ready for going back to normal. But you know, it could just be me thinking it, but I don't believe it is.
Basically, one of the issues we have is we do not have a track and trace system in place, and neither is the contact tracing app available yet. And yet we're still dropping the lockdown measures, which is sort of dumb, maybe, possibly. And the contact tracing app, as I understand it, for the last I heard, was it does not work. And initially it was supposed to be released last month or started this month. It was, and literally they've gone from using the centralized system that they were intending to use. No, we're not going to use the decentralized version that Google and Apple came up with. So no, we're going to use ours, and it turns out, oh, actually, the centralized system doesn't work. It's for whatever reason, I don't know. And we're going to have to start using the Google and Apple API. And it's just like, why didn't we do this in the first place? In fact, this is the main thing. We should have had systems like this in place sooner, by March, April at the latest. Have it in place so that when we are ready to drop the lockdown, we have the measures in place. I mean, they did do some things right. They did the right thing getting the Nightingale hospitals in place. Thank goodness we did not need them, but at least they were there in case we did need them.
Yeah,
but they should have done more, and I'm going to get off my soapbox now. I'm sorry for getting political.
I think the one thing that I've noticed, obviously, with these changes is this change to way of life, especially in terms of video game releases, is probably one example. Because there's so many people that have pre-ordered games, and things. Part of life does still have to go on, and it's like with Game and Amazon, they were releasing copies of some brand new video games about a week early to get out in the post, because they go, well, we don't want our people who have obviously given us money to have to wait any longer, not like there's a pandemic or anything going on, but they went, yeah, we're going to push video games out a few days early. And apparently when Final Fantasy VII came out, there were some copies that were given a little notice that said, where you may be getting this game a few days early, we ask you very nicely and very respectfully not to post any videos or photos online of anything to do with this game, as we want to give the community a chance to discover this on their own. A friend of mine actually got the game a week early, and he had this note, and he's sent me the screenshot of it, and it's really nicely worded. It was going, yeah, please, we understand everything that's going on, but we'd ask you, if you have got a copy in advance, please do not share it out. Please do not. And I think that was quite nice in a way, but I reckon there were so many people that went, "No, fuck that! I'm going to ruin it for everyone. I'm going to post it out." But then I'm not really a Final Fantasy VII fan, so
I've never been a fan of the Final Fantasy games. I don't know what it is.
I did play the new one. I did give it a chance. I got about not even halfway through, I think, and I just got bored. I don't know what it is. I like an RPG. I do like Japanese RPGs a lot. Like Xenoblade is definitely one of my favorite franchises, and I really loved Octopath Traveler, but just Final Fantasy, I just never really got into it. And I've probably given about 5 or 6 of the games a go, and it just never sunk in with me.
Yeah, like the original Final Fantasy VII. That was a really good JRPG. I tried Final Fantasy VIII and I played it all the way through, but it was just meh. I mean, okay, it was sufficiently entertaining that I did play it and finish it, but it's just like, yeah, I'm done with the series now.
I don't know what it is. I just that sort of the whole sort of the JRPGs. I've never really sort of kind of got my head around them, or it's like I've played a few, but it's never really been. I don't know what I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's the aesthetic or it just doesn't. It just feels a bit odd to me, and just.
They are very different to Western RPGs, both in terms of tone and style. Yeah. So yeah, and also like it's. I mean, when Final Fantasy VII came to the PS1, that was groundbreaking. Like the first time, people going, "Where's the other 6?" But yeah, it was quite unlike anything we'd ever played before, and that was good in a way. But also, it's a bit quirky and a bit, what's the word? Fey at times.
Yeah.
Which can wind some people up, like me.
Yeah. I think that's probably it. It's a bit sort of, I don't know, kitsch in a way. I don't know. It's just sort of, it's just. And I kind of thought, I don't know. I kind of like my RPGs be kind of serious in a way, and it's just. Yeah, I don't mind a bit of sort of over the top, but I kind of like it being slightly darker and more sort of it's art. You can't be realistic in RPGs, but more realistic in a way. But I guess it's a cultural thing.
I'm not a realistic RPG. You work like you're fighting for your work life or something like that. Like, Jesus, hey, Bob. Hey, Jim, have you got that paper for today? And then you just got 5 options for you. Yes, I've got the paper. No, I haven't. Jim, you can shove this paper up your arse and things like that,
There are games like that, though. Like Papers, Please. There is games out, like where you can literally you are a border guardsman, and your job is to basically check everyone's immigration papers as they come in, and you got to let so many people in. Literally, it's just like that is literally a paper shuffling simulator. You got to let so many people in, get so many bribes, look after your family, don't get fired. Yeah, check it out.
I saw that game and I was just like, I'm not sure about it and stuff.
It's actually really good because it gives it looks at immigration
Yeah.
from a very, unique lens.
Got to like a game if it's got a little bit of a serious note to it, haven't you?
Absolutely. I love a game with a theme. I love the original Metal Gear Solid back in the 90s
Yes.
because that was like literally a very strong anti-war, anti-nuclear theme to it.
And I think that game, I've completed it about 10 times.
Ditto.
First Metal Gear Solid is just, I think it was one of them titles I remember borrowing off my cousin. And I just said, look, I don't want to give it back until I finished it. And I stayed up the whole night playing it through. So it was about 2, 3 o'clock. So I was only about 10 years old at the time. But it was about 2, 3 o'clock in the morning I completed it. And I just loved it so much that the next morning I was about to give it back to him. And he went, oh, do you know you can actually play it again? And like he said, who did you save? And I said, oh, I saved Meryl. He went, do you know you've got infinite ammo? You can basically, just use your weapons as much as you want. You won't actually run out of ammunition. I went, really? He went, yeah. He went, if you do it to the save article, next time you get stealth. I was like, well, stealth? Because obviously 10-year-old me was like, he went, oh, you become invisible. I was like, wow. So it's like, I had to. And then there was like the 4th time round, he was wearing a tuxedo. It's like, yep, okay, that'll do. That's that's enough.
I have this weird quirk when it comes to games, and I don't know if it's sort of like what's the word? What's the fucking thing? I potentially might be ADHD in a way. I haven't been diagnosed with it, but I was reading about it, and I get the impression that there's a lot of those things that could potentially be me, and I lose focus quite easily. But when I do focus on things, I super hyper focus on them. So I've got this sort of like weird thing that when I'm doing RPGs and I'm doing story driven games, I'll like super like be into them, and I'll be like, I'm zoned in, and I'll do side quests and stuff. But as soon as I complete the story, I lose interest. I just sort of as soon as the story's over, I just go, I'm done now, and I don't go back. And it's weird because I was trying to think when you were talking there about completing games over and over again, and I don't think there's been very many games that I've gone back to play through the story mode again. Bar Streets of Rage is the most recent one, which me and my brother did. But other than that, I don't think I've gone through many to go back and play them again. I just tend to sort of get done the story mode, gone through that. I generally do it on a hard thing, and then that's it. When it comes to sort of like, then I'll play the multiplayer and stuff. So like Halo, I'll hammer the single player, get the campaign done. I'll do it on Legendary, make sure I'm sort of it's done, and when that's done, I'm sort of like just multiplayer, and I don't generally play the single player again.
I think with a lot of video games, there is the replay value in a story. It is different, I think, for other people. There's a few games I've replayed over, but I couldn't honestly say there's many games that I've done 100% in. One of the biggest examples was the Batman Arkham Knight, which I loved that game. I didn't love it as much as the other ones, but I did enjoy it enough. But I had to quit because I just could not be bothered to do the Riddler trophy bit, because that was over 200 trophies you had to get to battle Riddler. And I just thought, can I complete the game without doing that? Yep, good, that's fine. That'll do for me.
Yeah.
Never completed a Grand Theft Auto game. Never. I just get to a point where I get bored, and then I just start running people over, and then I get bored of that, and then I'm just like, I'm done.
So I've had Grand Theft Auto 5 probably since it first came out, and I got about 10 hours into the story, and then that was it. I just keep going back to the same save point. So I've got plenty of weapons, I've got plenty of properties, all vehicles and everything, and I just mess about now. I'll just get in a jet and I'll just go flying about and just do like massive parachute jumps and massacres, and it's like, yeah, let's repeat the cycle.
I finished GTA 5 because I was really into the story of these 3 disparate people. Now, having said that, the one person I really identified with was the ex-criminal. I can't remember his name. It's the older gentleman with the family.
I thought they were all ex-criminals.
No, well, 2 of them were. One is a new one.
I know what you're about there, Michael.
Yeah, and I really identified with Michael because he is a dad with a family and wanting to look after his family. And I thought that was okay. I actually can identify with this gentleman. I'm not a criminal. that don't have any criminal history, but it's like, okay, he's out for looking after his family, and I really like that.
Okay. Josh, you've been very quiet of late. What's going on, man? You got your kids around? Is that why you're being quiet?
No, I'm just enjoying hanging out in the background here. I was given a wonderful freebie, so I've been watching a masterclass. I've been watching Aaron Franklin's Texas Barbecue masterclass, and I never thought I'd be that interested in listening to a guy tell me about wood and fire and properly how to cut meat and make. Shit, man, I need to get a smoker.
I love shit like that. I sit there and watch random stuff on, like, do you see those? You get those two guys who are out in sort of like I don't know if it's like Indonesia or something like that, and they're just making stuff, making houses out of mud and stuff like that. I'll sit there and watch that for hours. Or there's like the barbecue guys. I'll just sit there watching them sort of like cooking stuff, and I'm like, yeah, that just makes me want to have a barbecue.
I've gone through the whole list of what masterclasses you can get, and I thought, you know what, right? I've been so into Aaron Franklin's now for the past week, and I went, Penn and Teller have got one. I thought, you know what?
Ooh.
Put that one in the shopping basket and keep going through it. I thought Gordon Ramsay, I think, fuck, I watched enough Hell's Kitchen. Go through it. But Hans Zimmer's got one. Neil Gaiman's got one. Samuel L. Jackson has got one. It's like, holy crap!
What's the Samuel L. Jackson one? How to say bad motherfucker
acting.
in as many sort of.
It's basically it's how to act basically with Samuel Jackson, but his main lesson is the diner scene in Pulp Fiction, where he has the 1-to-1 with Honey Bunny, and it's that the whole grabbing his gun. Oh, it's watching him go, and how do you get into the scene? He goes, because you've got to make sure that everybody else is around you. It's just you and me, and that's it. And not once I go, say motherfucker, say it once. Just please, just roll up. I was waiting for it. Nope. Cried. But yeah, masterclass has had my attention when I've had free time anyway. Otherwise, it's been same as usual in the household. It's teacher fault.
Are your kids back in school yet? Are they going back to school yet?
Wales is still closed.
Yeah,
because the Welsh minister basically said England is not a level of which we are, going from. We're not saying, England have said we're opening. Wales just went, well, we're not going to follow your lead because we have our own system of what we think is going on. So Wales is still closed. They've said about reopening primary schools at June, the end of June, beginning of July, and I spoke to the kid's mum, and we've both agreed that it's too fucking soon.
Yeah, it's been scrapped in the England as well, and we've said even nursery, we're not sending our youngest back to nursery. September, when schools open again, that's when we'll feel more confident.
Even with September, I'm still going to be very and ahhing about, because what for us adults, right? It's so easy to say stay 2 meters apart, wash your hands at all time and everything. These are kids. As soon as they go back to school, they're going to see their friends. What are they going to do? They're going to want to play. Kids don't understand. Stay apart from each other. I'm trying to tell Eowyn, because my daughter just wants to go see her friends. She wants to go play with her friends.
Yeah. Is your daughter called Eowyn?
Eowyn, yeah, Lord of the Rings.
Nice.
Oh wow, that's a great name, man. Kudos.
When she was born, she came out throwing fists. So I just went, fuck, you're a shield maiden of Rohan, aren't you? And I said, we already came up with Shiara as one of her names, because obviously I wanted her to have two strong names. Shiara, obviously being Hawk Girl. I thought if any girl can swing a right hook, it'd be my daughter, so it'd be that one. And it was so difficult to come up with the first name for her. She was originally going to be called Eleanor because of I love Mustangs. But when she came out fighting, Eowyn just seemed right.
I always thought if I had a daughter, I'd call her Eowyn. So yes, it's a good name, man.
Eowyn sounded right. She was going to be one of a twin. when the first scan, because apparently the midwife could hear 2 heartbeats.
Oh.
Not taking into consideration Kirsty's
She's
heart.
a Time Lord.
So we thought, oh, twins. Holy fuck, twins. But no twins were in the family, so obviously it was a false. So that was fun. But yeah, as I was saying, the 2-meter rule with kids in school, and how they're going to, set them apart in lessons.
Yeah.
How can you not stop kids going over to talk to their friends, for fuck's sake? Because they with a spray bottle of water. No, bad. Stay back. Sit. It's not. You can't be done. There's got to be a substantial amount of time where no death count has gone up. Because even now in the UK, every day 200 more, 300 more, and you've got some idiot with a worst fucking hairdo ever on this planet other than Donald Trump keeps saying to us, "Oh, we're going to get things in a bit more. Slowly we're opening. Yes, everybody's okay. Stay away from people. But if you need to go have sex with somebody you don't know, 2 meters apart." What the fuck is going on?
So you've got to be super well endowed for that one, then, eh?
I mean, it's just like straightforward answers to questions that everybody wants, but nobody since the beginning of this fucking thing can give you a straightforward answer. And the simple question every single one of us has at the moment is, what is going on?
Yeah, it's still a bit of a shit show.
I think with every day, I feel like there's something else that comes up, something else that is said or revealed that just really irates everyone. Because, the whole thing about the social distancing, the 2-meter rule, for weeks and weeks they've been going, "Oh, no, the 2-meter rule has to be in place because whiffle waffle, wibble wobble." And then just like yesterday and today he's going, "Oh, no, we need to relax the 2-meter rule because of whiff waff, wibble wobble." It's like, hold on, you just fucking said the opposite. Why are you now saying? But it's like, I reckon he must have a script writer. He must have someone who's there hired for him to help him. And then literally 2 seconds before, here you go, Mr. Johnson. Here's your script. "Oh, no, I'll be fine. I've got this. Have you memorized the script?" "Oh, yes."
Have you seen the?
Do you think I'd fuck up again?
The Irish Taoiseach, Leo Varadkar, the Republic of Ireland. He apparently he drops in like geeky quotes into his like speeches and stuff, and he had a Lord of the Rings quote in his most recent one. It was like
nice,
and it was just like somebody had sort of basically got a transcript of what he had said and then started playing Lord of the Rings, and I think it was like it was when Sam's talking about darkness and things, and it's like apparently he's got some scriptwriter who just must be a massive nerd who just throws in these sort of like these quotes, but he doesn't mind, and he quoted like Terminator 2 and things like that, apparently. Which is kind of cool.
Do.
Well, this is the thing, because saying earlier about how New Zealand have done so well and about how how they basically got rid of social distancing. In a conversation I had with my partner the other day, I said to her, "Do you know how much I wish now we lived in New Zealand? How much I'd love to go there?" And the first thing she said to me is, "So what would appeal to you about New Zealand?" I went, "Where do I start?" I said, "It's Middle Earth, for God's sake." And she said to me, "What's Middle Earth?" And I went, "Lord of the Rings."
Get out.
She went, "You're a fucking nerd, you know that." I went, "Yes, I am."
Get out.
Like, "Yes, I am."
Do you know I found out recently, completely off topic, but it just reminded me about when you talked about your missus calling you a nerd.
It's caused me worse than that.
Yeah, the lass from the Colombian lass from Modern Family, whose name.
Sophia Vergara.
Yeah, I think that's it. Yeah, she goes out with Joe Manganiello.
Manganiello.
Yeah. And
she's gonna do Dungeons and Dragons every day.
Yeah, it's just like, and he's like a super nerd now, and it's just like, well, he's always been a super nerd, but it's just as mad because she's obviously probably not, And I was just sort of.
She's got a hell of a sense of humor, though.
Yeah, she is amusing.
Especially if you watch her in Machete Kills, that is just such a great film, and she's so funny in that movie.
I've not seen it, actually. I've not seen it.
Yeah.
You just have to watch celebrities read mean tweets to find out she's got a sense of humor.
Yeah. I saw that one. Yeah.
One of the best ones she's done is like, why does her accent sound like she's got a dick in her mouth? And she looks at the camera going, "What's wrong with having a dick in my mouth?" I thought, oh my god. But Joe Manganiello's going, damn.
Yeah. Yeah, man.
So what is everybody actually looking forward to? I mean, we can basically kiss con season fucking goodbye.
Yeah.
Shit. I cried this year because I had things planned out and things to go ahead, and I've just been kind of in the fetal position, rocking back and forth, there's no place like home. There's no place like home. But I was saying to Kirsty, the kid's mum, and obviously my mum, I was going, right, so summer is pretty much fucked. We're not going to be able to do anything over the summer or go anywhere over the summer. And my mum went, "Oh, but you see that Christmas cloud?" I said, "Are you kidding me?" I said, "No one's going to be able to walk outside the fucking door. Everyone's going to be pitch scared to fucking go out, go shopping with us, everybody around, they're there with sticks going 2-meter rule, 2-meter rule." Can you imagine how long the queues are going to be in fucking Tesco's to get a fucking turkey?
Yeah.
So you've got to be kidding. I said, I can't book anything at the moment because obviously Disney's still closed. And even then, where if we did go to Euro Disney this year with the kids, I've got to think about what's going to happen. I know Shanghai Disney's already open. I know they're starting to open Florida and Walt Disney World with restrictions and whatnot. But everything is so weird right now. How is it possible to get into some kind of normality when this thing is over with? I mean, people have said, if you look at the beaches and the skyline during lockdown, everything's clear, clean. And as soon as fucking McDonald's opens or KFC opens, parks and beaches are fucking littered with McDonald's trash or KFC trash. And I remember saying to one of my mates in Florida, we might be the problem here.
Well, humans generally are the problem, aren't they?
So, what's everybody looking forward to?
Well, I'm starting to, obviously it's only halfway through the year, but come Christmas, like I have never had a Christmas in Manchester, and I've been here 20 years, and I always go home for Christmas. It's like it's a tradition. It's something I've always done just because it's a big thing for my family, and now my dad's dead. It's just like my mom, seeing my mom and stuff, it's important. So having not been able to go home for Christmas is going to be slightly upsetting. That's going to be something that I'm hoping they sort out soon. Even if it's just the boats and I can go across, I'll sit in the garden if I have to, but as long as I can get over there.
Get a tent.
Yeah, but it's just sort of like, it's, I know eventually I'll have to have, my Christmas in Manchester, but, I'm currently in a shitty rented place that, I don't care about. I haven't bought my new house yet and stuff, and I don't really have. It's not really home, and I just kind of want to have. I wouldn't mind be back playing board games with my brother. My mum's cooking and stuff, and seeing my sister and my family and things, and it's just sort of And I won't have seen. I don't think I will have seen them this year because. Yeah, I haven't seen them this year. I generally see them maybe twice a year. Maybe sometime in the summer and at Christmas, and I won't have seen them at all this year and stuff. So it's going to be hard. So I'm looking forward to that being relaxed. Otherwise, I'm just going to have to buy myself a new Xbox come November and sort of just play Halo Infinite, and then.
I like how you said that. I'll just have to buy an Xbox. Come on, you're going to buy it anyway. Come on. It's like do you know this week I had because I booked loads of concerts throughout the year, and I now only have one concert left that's still scheduled for this year, and I don't believe that's going to happen either. And it's really annoying that obviously they're dragging it out so long, and they're going, yeah, we'll let you know. It's like, just fucking tell me it's been delayed or been cancelled. It'd be nice just to have a bit of notice. One concert that I had booked up until, well, it got delayed this week was Lewis Capaldi, one of my I actually think he's really good. I think he's a great singer. He's fantastic online when you see just the natural comedy that comes out of him. And his show's been delayed for over a year. And I had the notice come through going, good news! Lewis Capaldi's been rescheduled for October 2021. Okie dokie.
I watched the Download Festival. They had a live Download Festival on YouTube.
Yes.
A guy I know actually called Cameron Hack was on it because he organizes some of the bands and stuff, and he was on it getting interviewed. But it was good because they just had like old shows that hadn't been seen, sort of like previous years and stuff, some interviews and things. So we sat there, had a few drinks, and watched a bit of that. So it was just it was quite good.
What does everybody think about these virtual cons?
It's not the same. It's not the same as it's just
It's
like
better than nothing. It's better than nothing. I mean, if it wasn't
I'll
there,
come
you'd
away
say-
without random stuff at the end of the week, and that just isn't. That's not one. If Matt isn't drunk within a couple of days, then it's not a convention. And two, if Matt doesn't come away with loads of random stuff that he doesn't need. Yeah, it's not a con. Yeah, it's not a convention.
Yeah, but it's like last year I said to myself, "Yeah, don't worry, I'm not taking much money with me. I'm not gonna overspend at Comic Con. I'm not gonna do £800 later, right? I'm not gonna tell you how much I spent, but trust me, I had a good time." But, the thing is, I think that's another thing as well. Showmasters have only in the last week delayed London Film and Comic Con, but they've delayed it to November, and part of me still thinks that's a little bit too quick to have an event like that going again.
I don't want to be a buzzkill. I don't want to say anything, but I don't think with social distancing they're going to be able to have a con. There'll be no,
especially how cramped theirs are. Theirs are super cramped.
I would just cancel all cons until the new year, until everything is sorted. You know, people are going to have to expect social distancing. You know, what are you going to do at Showmasters? You know, 2 people at a time. Okay. An hour later, you've still got 900 people outside queuing. You'll be there for all weekend and you wouldn't even be getting.
The thing is that my highlighted one for Comic Con this year was going to be Alice Cooper. And I don't want to see Alice Cooper from a distance. You know, it's one of my favourite artists. If I get to see Alice Cooper, I want to shake his hand. You know, I want to actually look him in the eye and just say, thank you for everything you've given to me. Thank you for your great music, your awesome performances. And, you know, I'd even hug the man if I had the chance. You know, how are you going to do that social distancing? Hi, Alice, I'm over here.
We're not worthy. We're not worthy.
No, I've been told not to do that.
He does not like that.
No, he's apparently he kicked off at a Comic Con. Well, didn't kick off, but he got to a point about 50 people done that to him when they were signing. They were going, "I'm not worthy." And he started, instead of apparently signing his name, he was writing, "I am worthy," and just "I am worthy," and just giving the papers back. But then he jokingly, was doing it, he went, "Oh no, pass it back, I'll properly sign it." But, yeah.
Okay.
But, talking about things to look forward to, because, you know, we said about, can't do cons, can't do holidays. TV, I think, is going to be one of the things you can kind of look forward to. And this week, I finally... no one moaned at me because I know I've waited a while to watch it. I finished watching The Boys this week, and I've got to say it was a bloody brilliant show, and I can't wait for season 2.
Really good, really, really, really good.
I loved it, apart from the final 15 minutes, which is just all seemed to be set aside just for establishing the second season. I'd rather just told them a proper story that had an ending with an opening for the second season, rather than start kind of putting in the foundations at the last minute.
Yeah, I suppose.
I thought it was great, but it just felt, come on, you're setting up the second season now. This is a bit obvious.
They were already filming season 2 before season 1 came out. So
good reason. It is really good,
and it is funny. It is truly one of the best superhero shows I've seen, and mainly just for Carl Urban. I think that is probably his best part I've seen him in. I think he just owns the part of Billy Butcher. He's just perfect.
Let's face it, any man that can make a Spice Girls reference seem really fucking cool, it's got to be Carl Urban, isn't it? I remember watching the trailer going, he just made a Spice Girls reference and it was fucking awesome. I can't believe it. What's going on? And then I read the graphic novel. I was like, shit, I need to watch this.
Sorry, Josh, carry on.
That's right. With good TV, what's everybody been watching? I'm loving Snowpiercer.
Oh yes, I did start that the other week. I am enjoying it because I quite like the film. Yeah, I and that's another show as well that's been given an early renewal. So, yeah, we've got plenty of time to get into that show.
I've been watching Modern Family. I've watched it on and off, bits and pieces, but the first 7 or 8 seasons I think are on Netflix. They've just filmed their last episode apparently in the last month or so. So I've been hammering that with the missus and loving it. And it's just I find it amusing because my girlfriend is a very outspoken, quite loud foreign lady, and so it's not Jay, it's Matt, and I'm just I always liken her to Matt names. What's her name in the bloody thing? Wow.
Doris?
No, it's not. What's that? It's going to annoy me.
I've seen a few episodes. I can't think of her name either.
Yeah.
Margarita?
No, it's somebody.
Gabriella?
No, not Gabriella. It's we're just gonna have to carry on. It'll be one of those ones where I'm just gonna drop a random name in our conversation and I go, that was it, and then people are just go, okay, crazy man, that was it.
I watched the first Purge last week. That was a stonking good installment in the Purge films.
I've not seen any of the Purge films.
I said, in a way, the Purge films are horror films for people who are not into horror. It is basically the entire premise is for 12 hours, one night, all crime is legalized. And this is where kind of as a catharsis. And it's one of those horror films where the setting is the bits that's horrific. Not the monsters, not the the ghosts or the goblins or anything like that, or the slasher killer. No, it is the setting and the people behind it. That is what's terrifying about the Purge. And yeah, it is really good series. The first one starts out, the first Purge, as in the very first Purge film, was basically a home invasion story. But as the series has progressed, with Purge 2, election year, and now the first Purge, it has become increasingly political to the point where I think the election year was let's make America purge again was one of their on a red baseball cap, which I thought was a nice nudge. And
Gloria,
holy shit.
Gloria, her name's Gloria.
Gloria!
Christ.
Told you, get it.
I started having Laura Branigan playing in my head then. Gloria!
Sorry, carry on. I don't know what I'm saying.
I've never heard Matt Geary so excited in his life. It's Gloria! Jesus Christ. Anyway.
Basically the first 5 minutes of the first Purge, the latest film, just to be confusing, was felt like you were watching a news documentary. It was
Sure.
because it's just basically reflecting Black Lives Matter protests. Now I'm watching the first Purge, and it literally is a massive examination on race. And watch it much. You will not be disappointed. The political in you will really get into it.
I think that's what makes a lot of these films more effective. If they do feel real, if they have something like that makes you think, my God, it is actually so believable. It has that real, especially if it reflects current topics as well.
Oh, yeah.
It does install an extra bit of fear. And it's very few horror films that can really achieve that. There ain't many that go to that realm where you think, oh my God, that's actually so believable. That is actually something that could potentially happen. And I think that's probably why the Purge films have been so successful, because it is how far are we actually away from having that as a reality?
Feel like
Absolutely, yeah.
I do feel like something's coming, and it's the society with we're going to get political again, but we're not sort of trying our best not to, but I think society's getting to a point where things are getting a bit too much and something's going to give soon, and all it takes is for Orangina Head to sort of push the wrong button, and you're going to ignite something very unfortunate. So
a lot of people seem to think we're going to get the Hunger Games before we get the fucking Purge.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'd like to see? I'd like to see a Hunger Games version, but for the presidential race. That would be quite fun.
This is the thing with the Purge. All government officials who have got like level 10 and higher are absconded from the Purge. They can't be killed or I thought that's bullshit right there. I'm sorry, but if you're supposed to purge everybody, then everybody should be fucking fair game. But no, the people who decided on the Purge, oh no, we're safe from the Purge. We won't get killed. I'm sorry.
Well, it's like that Rick and Morty episode.
Rick and Morty.
Yeah.
Because they basically do the opposite. They go, yeah, do you know what? Why are we fighting each other? We should be fighting them rich bastards up there. Yeah, let's do it. Speaking of Rick and Morty,
somebody called me Justin Roiland Roiland. Yeah, the other day on TikTok. He went, "Do you know you look like Justin Roiland?" And I was like, "Do I look like Justin Roiland?"
You should have replied going, "Ooh wee,
ooh wee." Carry on.
I was just to say, speaking about Rick and Morty, season 4, which obviously just finished, I was a bit half and half on it for some episodes, but I've got to say the last 3 episodes of the series, probably some of the best episodes they've made. And
I haven't seen anything past the train one, so.
Oh, okay. I won't say anything on it. But all I'll say is the last episode, doesn't just ramp up some of the comedy, but it really does tie up a lot of what you've seen before. And it's also a good example of a show that does put in such dark humor, but does have a lot of heart to it. And it's probably one of the toughest shows to watch, even though you wouldn't believe it when you think of the premise. It's a guy and his grandson, basically traveling through space, traveling through different dimensions and just fucking about for 22 minutes at a time. And, it's one of these programs that so many people anticipate. It's a show that now at this point, we don't know when season 5 is going to come. It could be in time between like tomorrow and 2030 for all we know. There's, and it's just such a weird program, and I still love it. Rick and Morty has got to be arguably one of the best shows ever. It's just
wow. That is some high praise.
I was going to try and give like a peek, and I was like, nope, it's just beyond that.
Yeah, it is really good. It is really good. I do thoroughly enjoy it, and thing is with Rick and Morty, it's one of those programs I can watch it over and over and over again. It doesn't get boring for me. So yeah.
But I've also found another show that's kind of gone like that I can watch over and over and still really enjoy it. It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. And that is...
Aren't they? They're trying to get rid of that, apparently, because they're,
One episode has been removed due to a substance that's been applied to their faces in one episode. But It's Always Sunny is just so humorous. It's such a great comedy. It's such a horrible comedy as well, because these are not people that you should ever root for. These are the utter scum of the earth, but it's just hilarious. And especially Danny DeVito, he's probably the best part he's ever done. You think this is a guy who's got 50 odd years of film and TV experience, and he's just such an arsehole in this show, but he's just so great. And the character Dennis is probably one of the best TV characters ever, just because he is utter scum. And his Dennis system, look up the Dennis system afterwards, probably something that a lot of guys would kind of relate to, but at the same time they go, whoa, you're going a bit too far, mate.
I've not, so people keep on mentioning this to me. I've watched the odd episode and I've not hated it, but it's not been something I've gone, oh, I want to carry on watching this. So I'm not sure if the humor I'm just not grasping or not, but it doesn't seem to have done much for me.
It was one of these shows, I think it kind of got made on such a small budget. It was basically, the first series was about 6 episodes long, and the actors at the time were like very little known. They didn't really have much of a known presence, but they got given a small budget and they went, okay, make a show. And they basically made a 6-episode series in, I think it was like 2 or 3 weeks. So they really did churn these episodes out so quickly. And then season 2, they got financial backing from Danny DeVito. and he said, "Is there a chance I can be part of the show?" And then they went, "Joe, actually, we'll put you in the cast if you want to be in it. We'll make you a main character." And it's one of these shows. I think I felt the same. I watched the odd few episodes, and I wasn't keen on it. I was like, it's okay. But then once you get a few episodes in, you find that the time just flies by, and it's about. I think there's about 160 episodes, something like that on there now.
I think I'll give it a whirl. It was the same with Community. I never really was into Community, and then my housemate at the time was watching it with his girlfriend, and I just sat down, watched a couple of episodes, and then found myself sort of completely taken in by it until the last season, which was dog shit. But
Oh yes, the Yahoo series, which was which I only watched one episode to that, and I just no, that's it. The Community finished at season 5. No. Yeah,
there's apparently a film coming out. They're thinking about a film.
6 seasons of a movie.
Yeah, 6 seasons of a movie. Yeah.
Oh, I've started watching as well. Westworld. Finally.
First season is amazing. Absolutely amazing.
Watched the first 3 episodes so far, and it is so good. I'm loving it.
Yeah,
my wife, it's a bit gory for my wife. She's a bit, that's a bit gruesome in parts, but I'm just really getting into the mystery. But yeah, it's a bit gruesome, but the mystery and the writing is just so good. I want to know what's going on.
First season's amazing. Second season's okay. It's good. I haven't watched the third season yet. But yeah, it's one of those ones where it's like depreciating returns, I think, because the main sort of like thing is in the first season, and they are trying to think of other things to come along for the second one. It's kind of like, I don't know, I'm trying to think of a similar sort of
Lost.
Lost or something. I think it's sort of, the second season was good, and it is good, but it's sort of, it doesn't have the same feeling as the first one. The first one's just a masterclass. It's absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, well, I mean, the first season, as I see it, is all about the mystery.
Yeah.
At the end of which, I assume that mystery is solved. Otherwise, I'm going to be annoyed.
Oh man, the thing is,
don't tell me.
I know I won't tell you, but I'm kind of. It must be good to sort of what annoyed me was having to watch them one by one and then try and figure things out, and then people were saying stuff and I was like, oh my god, I didn't think about that. The thing is, you'll find out once you watch them all that certain things from the very start were right in front of you and you didn't realize, and it all clicks together and you're all like,
I hate
shit.
TV shows like that.
Holy shit. And there's loads of stuff
I live for TV shows like this. Anything that makes you think, and it has the clues, and when you look back and you feel, right, of course. Lost was like that.
Yeah, once you finish it, man, once you finish it, just have a read through some of the theories behind it or some of the things, because there's going to be stuff you will have missed. Like, we're literally right in front of you and you don't realize. You're like, so, oh shit, right? Yeah, and then you're just like, right, okay. And that's what makes a really good sort of, thing. That's why my D&D campaign tomorrow is going to be so good.
That was a good little segue.
Well, we do like mysteries.
But then that's kind of what Legion was like, the X-Men spin-off. That
I tried watching that. I
had to pay attention to every little bit, because
I did, but it was just.
But a mate of mine watched the first 2 episodes, and I said, "What did you think of it?" He went, "I couldn't really get into it." And I said, "Did you actually watch it, or was you sitting there with your phone in your hand? You were playing like a mobile game in between?" And he went, "Yeah, I was playing a mobile game." I said, "Well, put that fucking phone down. Rewatch the 2 episodes." I said, "You've got." And the thing is, it was such an in-depth show, and there's all these different things that are thrown. Even halfway through season 2, they're still referencing bits that were very minute in the first couple of episodes, and it's like I only remember it because it's like, well, I did actually remember paying attention to this bit, and it's one of them shows that really did mess with my head. And then season 3 just absolutely blew my mind. I was just like, I don't know what the hell is actually happening there, and I've been watching this religiously. I've rewatched it to try and understand it, and I was like, I don't know what is going on now, and I kind of hate a show like that, but then again, I love it because it challenged me. Similar, I guess, to Mr. Robot. That was the same kind of thing. I was going to suggest
that, yeah, because I watched the first season of that.
Not finished Mr. Robot yet. I haven't got
I watched the first season, and I was really enjoying it. One thing I really liked was that the techniques to use for breaching network defenses is real. A lot of what the stuff they're talking about is genuine. You can tell that this is written by someone who understands cybersecurity and thought, yep, okay, I'm on board with this. Wasn't too happy with the way they portrayed mental illness. I thought that was a bit of a cop-out. But yeah, overall, I enjoyed the first season. Not watched the second or subsequent seasons yet.
Yeah, I think when the series goes on, the portrayal of mental illness does. I think they do have better representation of it, especially when you get into season 3, because I think because in initially he's purposely trying to confuse you, and I think they kind of do that on purpose, so you don't obviously pick up on the clues that obviously lead you to the end of the season, the end of the first season, because you know, I did honestly get shocked when I saw that conclusion. So obviously I don't want to give it away to people that haven't yet watched it. But the moment you get that reveal, and when it came up, I did literally just go, holy fuck, how did I not notice that? And then when you see all these little bits, all these little drops in between from the series, you go, actually, if you take that bit, take that, and it's like you go through it and you go, shit, yeah, it was all there in front of you. Another example, it was all right there painted in front of you, but you just didn't connect the pieces because you didn't think of it that way. But then if you rewatch the show with that idea in mind, you see it and it's really glaring at you, and it's like you feel stupid because you didn't notice it at the beginning. So
I'm just hoping, completely randomly, but talking about sort of things that make you think that fucking George R.R. Martin, with all this free time he's got, that, you know, when he's not counting his money, that he'll finish the bloody books, and
he's not so much counting the money, he's swimming it like Scrooge McDuck.
Yeah,
that's what it is.
I think he is. You know, and I just kind of think, because it was such a shit show at the end of Game of Thrones was such a shit show, I'm kind of hoping that sort of motivate him to sort of kind of do something better and get those last 2 books sorted ASAP.
Do you know who won't be back to direct or do any of the if they do a final season? Well, they're not really going to do a fucking final season now because Benioff and Weiss kind of like fucked that over, didn't they? But do you think when Martin actually does finish his books and it's completely different to what we've seen, I don't think HBO are going to have Weiss and Benioff back to do the TV series.
Yeah, they just got their money.
They're doing a spin-off, ain't they? They're doing another one that's supposed to be 300 years in the past or something. But it's I can't remember who's putting it together. They did announce the team, I think, late last year. I
want to see Neil Marshall back directing Game of Thrones.
These episodes were good.
Yeah, I mean, he is a fantastic director. And he's from the Northeast anyway, so he really kind of nails that North-South divide that exemplifies Game of Thrones. But yeah, I really want to, because he can really direct. I mean, he's a film director originally, but his episodes have always had the epic feel, which is iconic part of the series.
Yeah.
Oh, here we go. House of the Dragon is the House of Dragons is the new show, expected to premiere around April of 2022. So, yeah, we've got a while before that comes up.
Yeah, well, hopefully he'll get his books out. At least one of them.
I remember the last offshoot series I watched, which was Caprica from Battlestar Galactica, and that just tanked.
Yeah, my dad was massively into Battlestar Galactica, and he got the Caprica and wasn't overly impressed. Yeah, Battlestar Galactica is another one where it ended pretty badly as well. The end of Battlestar Galactica is fucking criminal. It's just like, what the fuck are you doing?
It is a bit piss-poor when I was going to say, when you look at the build-up, especially for season 4, I actually really enjoyed it, and then I think the last few episodes, it felt like they were really rushing, trying to just clobber it together. And then with the spin-off with Caprica, I think they went a bit too quick onto that. They should have given it a good couple of years breathing space before they then said, "Yeah, Joe, let's re-explore this world. Let's look into this franchise again." But it's because they knew they had that audience there, and maybe they weren't happy with Galactica's ending. Oh, but they'll stick for Caprica because they want to see what happens next. Oh God, no.
Yeah, one of the big problems with Battlestar Galactica was that they did not have a writer's Bible. They didn't have planned out what was going to happen when. And we've got some ideas. We don't know where it's going to lead, but we've got these ideas. Hence why there's so many kind of storylines that were just dropped or chopped And it showed completely when they kind of just rambled through to the end of season 4. For me, Battlestar Galactica should have stopped at the point midway through season 4 where they kind of got to that nuclear ravaged planet, and we just went, oh fuck.
Yeah, they thought that was Earth, and
just leave it there, just end it there.
Oh, it was Earth actually. It was Earth, wasn't it? But it was sort of, well, it's been so long since I watched it. It was Earth, and then they decided that it would fucked up. It was so much so they tried to find somewhere else, and the end of the final seasons when they found Earth 2. And then it turned out that all their names were all the gods, and so they just sort of kind of, that's where all the gods came from, because they were called Apollo, and and
we never find out what exactly were like the head 6 and head Boltar. We never find out who and what they are. I mean, we get this image, like this scene at the very end of the final episode of 6 and Boltar in Times Square, I assume, and it's just like, yeah, okay, what are you saying to me? Tell me. It's a bit.
I think it was one of the things they purposely made it so you had to question it, but at the same time, I don't expect they were anticipating the backlash like it came to. Like, what the fuck are you doing?
Battlestar still has probably one of my favorite scenes from the series is the FTL drive in the atmosphere.
Oh yeah, the Adama maneuver.
The Adama movement. That was I remember watching it, going, "There's no way they're gonna fucking do it." And all of a sudden, boom! I thought, "Holy shit, they're gonna do it!" And just as soon as they're about to hit the ground, FTL drive, I thought, "Oh, we can all get a cigarette, enjoy the aftermath, and relax." It was a brilliant scene,
epically written scene. And also I liked it for the Pegasus coming in to save them, which is completely contrary to the previous version of Battlestar Galactica. And they did destroy it, but it was just in the most balls out, over the top bombastic way, to the point where wreckage of the Pegasus was flying off, taking out another Cylon base star. And it was like completely unnecessary, but it felt narratively true.
Yeah. Good,
So the third season was very good and well written. And to be honest, the first few seasons are exemplary.
Yeah, agreed.
Yes.
I really enjoyed it. It just went downhill after 3, and it just
I think the problem partly stems from the writer's strike that really kind of disrupted the writing.
But there was I done a bit of an article years ago about the writer's strike, and unfortunately the website that it was on has now been taken down. But it was talking about basically the impact it had on TV as a whole, and just the knock-on effect it had for years afterwards, because there was so many new shows that came on that year which obviously didn't get the chance to continue. So many shows that obviously got cancelled after that because they literally just saw the writer's strike as more like an obstacle instead of the actual chaos that it was. And if you look at it, so many shows did seem to hit their jump the shark moment in that year. Biggest example is probably in Heroes, because that was when they were doing their second season, because they were supposed to do in season 2, it was supposed to be three different parts to it, and it was going to be the Generations, which obviously we did get. There was going to be Exodus, which pretty much killed off, it was supposed to kill off like half of the cast, and then there was going to be the Villains one, which then obviously made up season 3. But at the last minute, the end of season 2 was originally going to be the virus that they were trying to stop being released was going to be released, and that was going to be the mid-season finale, and it was going to be like, oh shit, this virus is now out, we've now got to try and save the world from a virus that is actually out. And I was really hoping that was still going to be the case, and when obviously they went, oh no, he saved the world at the last second, he's just stopped that vial before it hit the floor, and you can hear just such a, all of a sudden the fan base just dropped, and it was just like, right, so literally there's going to be no consequences ever to this show. Everything they do, they literally just are able to fix within the last 5 minutes, and that's just how it's always going to be.
There's been
that was terrible rewrite.
There's very
with
few
Heroes.
Sorry, man. Sorry. No, you
go on. No, go on. With Heroes, the main person in, I think it's season 3 that I felt sorry for was Ray Park.
Yeah.
Because it looked like he was going to have a hell of a character.
He had a great character.
Darth Maul, Ray Park?
Yes.
Yeah.
He played I can't remember the character's name, but he was
part of a circus.
Part of a circus. He was a nice specialist speedster. I thought, perfect character for Ray Park.
Using cookeries as well. It was just, he's going to go brilliantly. And they completely underused him.
Yeah.
Any of his skill sets, there's like, yeah, we've got Ray Park. Yeah, Darth Maul is in Heroes. What's he gonna do? He's gonna make tea.
Yeah. You see one instance of him doing any kind of action scene where he kind of grabs a knife and then runs away, and that is it.
That is it.
That was a massive criminal underusing of an actor as talented as Ray Park. And I was going to say this again, and also Michelle Yeoh on the pilot of Star Trek Discovery. She is the one person that out Jackie Chan's Jackie Chan.
Yeah.
And she got laid out by a single point. Like, no, this is a person that can go toe to toe with Jackie Chan and hold her own. There were stunts put into not Star Trek 3, Police Story 3 by Jackie Chan because she was outdoing him. She rides a motorcycle on a ramp onto a moving train and lands in it. And Jackie Chan saw that, went, okay, I need to do something else, something better. And literally put it. Go on.
No, I was just going to say, I think they do these things in TV shows because it's made you think, when you've got this highlighted character, this person who you think can do anything, can basically be the best, and then they get cut down. You go, well, shit, hang on. If the person who we think's going to survive doesn't, what's going to happen to everyone else? Kind of like people who had never read any of the Game of Thrones books, and then they saw Sean Bean, and they're going, oh, Sean Bean's the lead role. He is the hero to the story. Obviously, he's not going to have his head cut. Oh shit, he's had his head cut off. What are we going to do now?
One of the best moments.
That was in the final episode of the season, though.
Yeah.
Michelle Yeoh was literally taken down with a punch. It's like, no, you could have done more with that character. You could have done more with that choreography and skill. She had a skill set that the writers and directors and producers should have been more adequately used, but they didn't, and that was just massively disappointing.
Another example I was just going to say in terms of like characters and everything was, does anyone remember Torchwood? The Doctor Who spin-off?
I watched the third season, but that is it because it was the only one that was good.
There's a bit questionable. The first season, the first episode, obviously they basically spent the episode introducing this new cast because obviously you had Captain Jack, John Barrowman's character, who was front and center more or less, and he's basically introducing this new lead character to everyone else in Torchwood. He goes, oh, this is Owen, he's our medical officer. This is Ianto, he's my future husband, whatever else. And then they go through this whole thing, and then one of the lead characters, who just all of a sudden, she's like seems to be the most level-headed, the one person that you think's gonna, be like a co-lead throughout the show, and all of a sudden she turns into a traitor, and she goes, "Look, I know what's happening here. I can't deal with this." And she's literally got a gun to Captain Jack's head, and she goes, "Yeah, you're not gonna scare me. You can't hide from me." Shoots him in the head, and it's just like, okay. So I thought, right, in 2 seconds, she's now going to die. I just thought, and it was Indira Varma, who was Marcella Sands in the Game of Thrones series.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I think that's how you pronounce her name. But yeah, and her character in Torchwood was very good. It was one of these people that you honestly could see was going to be a good foil for the series. And all of a sudden, they've just gone, no, she's gone. She's out of it, and they had all the promotion for her as well. She was like
one of the sand snakes in Game of Thrones. Was it?
She was the mother of the sand snakes.
Yes. Okay. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But that was it, and it was like all of a sudden they've just gone, she's dead. And it was like, hang on. So this person who you had the whole press release for, you've had front and center. She had like a 5-page article in the Doctor Who magazine that had just come out. Oh no, she's gone. That's it. It's like, okay, that's And
well,
it was
the BBC, The BBC did that
That's
with
just-
Spooks back in the 90s when they were first released. The first season of Spooks, they brought in this great series. I love it.
Spooks, man, fuck. I used to love fucking Spooks.
Yeah, because it was really well written. And I can't remember the actress's name, but she was a rather high profile actress that come from Coronation Street into Spooks. And there was a massive kind of promotion, like, this is the person, she's going to be one of the main spooks in Spooks.
Oh, is it? Oh God, it's going to be a Matt Geary. It's going to bug me now.
Yeah.
This bloody name. It's going to bug me.
What character did she play in Coronation Street?
I can't remember. I don't watch Coronation Street, dude. Which is hate me for, man. But no, but in the third episode, she was dead. And suddenly you realise, the writers are not taking any crap now. Any of the characters can die. And literally by the end of the third season, the entire main cast had been replaced.
I think that's a good thing. I think in a way that's you
was
kind of need
believable.
that. Yeah, I think
because
you have to sort of. It's a what's the word? It's like a bit of a tightrope when it comes to things like that. You want something where if it's something like that, you want something where like people you like. There's a potential they can die, but you don't want to overdo it where you just sort of get to the point where you stop caring because you know they're just going to get killed. So you've got to, there's a fine line that you need to sort of kind of walk to get it right.
absolutely, because I mean, if you watch like a show like Elementary, where you know nothing's going to happen to Holmes or Watson, but you know that they're the main cast. But with something like Spooks, like, well, okay, we've seen the cast have, some of the main cast have died. Anything can happen to them. Anything.
Keely Hawes.
Who?
No, she was. Nope, she was one of the main cast until the third season.
Oh, see, this name is going to literally bug the fuck out of me now.
Layla Rouse.
I can't remember her name, dudes.
IMDb it, somebody. I don't know.
I know Jenny Agutter keeps coming into my head, but I don't think it's her. It's not her or Lisa Faulkner.
I tell you, I cannot
see, I'm
literally-
done. I'm out.
We're asking the wrong person, even though he brought it up. He's like, I don't know. Stop asking me.
I don't know the name. I was like,
no.
The only sort of like Coronation Street, like my ex used to watch quite a lot, so I was kind of forced into watching it and stuff. And it's one of those ones where you sort of begrudgingly watch it and then you just ask questions because you don't know what the fuck's going on. But my only sort of Coronation Street claim to fame is that I went to university with Nigel Pivaro, who played Terry Duckworth in Coronation Street. Yeah, he was an interesting character.
Debra
Sophia
Stephenson.
Myles?
We're actually just thinking about Coronation Street actors now. This is what it's come to, ladies and gentlemen. Coronation Street.
hello.
Debra Stephenson.
Give me a second. I'm literally looking up the synopsis on Wikipedia just to see if I'm correct.
Right. Well, we wait.
Yeah, we'll carry on to something else then. You were talking about something completely different, but you were talking about the new PlayStation 5 earlier,
Yes.
Jon Jo, and before we came online and how it looks like a router.
Lisa Faulkner. Lisa
It is
Faulkner.
Lisa Faulkner.
It was Lisa Faulkner playing Helen. So yes, there you go. Right, back onto the main subject.
Yes,
Sorry, guys.
PlayStation. Yes, yeah, because I did watch the live stream on Thursday night, and it's a tricky thing because the last two generations, the first console I've picked up has been an Xbox, and to me, I think the strength of getting the console is not so much about what it can do, because as long as you can play a good game and the game plays well, that's all that really matters to me. But it's the launch, because that's going to be your decider. Are you going to buy a console and think, oh no, the good games are coming out in a year or 2 years' time? Or do you buy a console that you can actually play decent games straight away? And I'd always go with, you want to buy it because you want to play a game straight away you're going to enjoy. You want to invest something that is going to have an immediate effect. And PlayStation looked like it showed a lot of promise, but a lot of these games, they were putting like these dates, they were just slapping in, 2021 for this one. 2022 for this one. Holiday 2020 for this. And that's the thing. There's no real. We don't know release date yet for either of the consoles. They're just saying holiday 2020. But with Xbox, obviously, they've already announced a few of the games that are releasing day and date with the console. So we have an idea of how they're going. But then I've got a load of friends that are like, oh, no, don't buy an Xbox. Oh, it's loads of shit. It's like, well, what are you going to get when PlayStation comes out? Well, I don't know. You want to buy a console when you don't know what you're going to fucking play for it? Okay.
What you've got now is like there when it comes to place, I talk shit, I smack shit about sort of like Xbox versus PlayStation all the time, but there's very little difference. The average Joe, will not see a difference in playing one game to another on thing. It's down to what you're used to, what sort of control system you like. Now, the one thing that gets me, I had a PlayStation 2, and I saw the light when Halo came out and never went back. But for me, the Xbox, because I'm a PC gamer as well, massive PC gamer. The fact that I can control, it has connectivity with both of them. I can play games on my PC from my Xbox. The games, you can, what's it called? The thing where you get lots of games. You can get, the Games Pass, for PC and for Xbox. You can start streaming. I can stream games. I streamed a game from my Xbox onto my PC, so I could stream it using OBS. I think Xbox are going down the connectivity sort of line, and what they're sort of relying on or hoping for is the fact that lots of games are now cross-playing, so it doesn't matter what console you're on. So they're trying to steal a march in other areas because they know eventually that most companies are going to go, well, let's just have crossplay, and then it doesn't matter who has it. So where are we going to get the one up on Sony? Well, it's because our new Xbox does this, it interacts with this, and it does this, and it does this. Whereas if PlayStation are still banging the drum on exclusives, then they might not fall out because.
Well, a console is becoming more than just a game console. It is a media center now, to be fair. Yeah. I mean, my Xbox, the Xbox 360, yes, I am that old, it also plays Netflix, Amazon Prime, YouTube. It has iPlayer on it, and God knows what else. And I can stream videos from my NAS drive. It connects to my PC, my laptop, my phone. And I want that. If I want something, I don't want it just to play games. It is more of a family entertainment system. And I think
but it's like your mobile phone. You don't just buy a mobile now to talk to people. You buy a mobile to watch stuff on your phone. You use it for social media and
My mum and dad still buy a phone just to talk to. They still have the function phones. But if I was fun just to talk to people, I will buy a function phone. If I want a smartphone, I'm going to buy a smartphone with connectivity that can do more than just talk.
Yeah, I'm also slightly, gaming in general has been, I've bought games and I've played them for a bit and I just can't seem to get into them. I bought the new Doom and the new Doom's really good. I enjoyed it, but again I got a bit bored. The only thing I really loved about the new Doom is the soundtrack, which is fucking awesome. Such a good soundtrack. And the way it kicks in when you're going to kill monsters and stuff is really, really good.
That guy's sacked.
Yeah. But the games just in general don't seem to be moving along. They just seem to be sort of upping graphics and going along the same sort of route. And it's like the all the Call of Duties that really aren't really doing much more than what they've always did. They sort of remember, it's all about Battle Royale now and things. And I just want something different, and I just can't get it.
I want story in video. Yeah. I want a story. I want immersion. I want a setting I can explore, a story that can grip me. I keep going back to Alan Wake and Max Payne. Those are two great
Max Payne was a good game.
Yeah, and it really was a mythic, narratively driven video game. It is a character you felt give a crap about. You understood completely where Max was coming from.
Yeah,
and
this is what I was. I was going to say, this is what I was going to say. I love a narrative-driven game. I love a game that has got a great story. You know, it might only be 10 hours long, but I'd rather a 10-hour game where I'm invested, I enjoy the characters, I get really in deep with it, and I take something away from it. I'd rather that than just play a battle royale or a constant shooter game for hours on end. And don't get me wrong, I like them games to a degree, especially playing with friends, because it's a good way of interacting, especially with the world in the state that it's in. That's something of a bit of a release, because you can chat with your friends while you're doing these battle royale games. But when I want to have the time to play a game myself, I love diving into something like The Witcher or Spider-Man, or even Star Wars. Like EA have finally learnt that with Star Wars. Should we keep doing Battlefront games and just do these terrible half-baked shooters? No, let's I think people might want a story-driven game. Oh no, story-driven games don't sell. Yeah. Who told you that, EA? Fuck's sake. And then it shows you as well, Fallen Order. I haven't completed my version of it yet, I will be honest, but Jedi Fallen Order is such a good game, and it is because they put the time and effort into, it's not the greatest story, admittedly, but because they've done that, they've actually made it so you're invested in it. You're actually taking something from this world. It's in depth. It's you're learning characters, you're learning story, you're getting progression. It's not just going out with a gun just shooting people for 10 minutes a time.
One thing that frustrates me about gaming is, and it's something that's frustrated me for ages, the way graphics are. Graphics have been good, for a long time now. There's games you can go back to from like 6 years ago, 7 years ago, even 10 years ago, and they're still, you still play them. It's like, they're good graphics. But all it seems to be is, like, what was that PlayStation announcement about?
Unreal Engine 5.
Yeah, and all sort of like, how many sort of kind of, I don't know, is it triangles? Or
how many triangles can you see on this screen?
Yeah,
is it 5 billion?
Yeah, and it's just like, you know what? It does look pretty, but your average, Joe isn't going to, care. And I would prefer a game that was, had good-ish graphics from like 5-10 years ago, but had a lot more to it, depth-wise than
content.
So it's like, one thing that frustrates me. There was a game for this is for the PlayStation, it's coming from an Xbox loyalist here, but PlayStation Red Faction on the original PlayStation, on the PlayStation 2, you could blow the shit out of everything. You could literally burrow holes into the ground. You could blow everything up. They went through this thing where literally you could just dig holes into the ground and stuff with rocket launchers and stuff. You could go wherever you wanted on it and stuff. And I liked that idea because they could do that. All they need to do is don't focus so much on the graphics all the time. Focus on maybe a bit more immersion within the gameplay. Give us something more instead of sort of going, these graphics are awesome. Yeah, they are awesome, but I want a bit more. I don't want to be playing Battlefield and for my tank to get stuck on a skip because it's a tank and it should be able to go through it. I can go through the wall, but I can't go through a skip.
Yeah, I mean, also graphics are becoming highly dependent upon the quality of television. You may have like super in-depth video game graphics, but your television or monitor might not be capable of actually presenting that graphical fidelity. I still remember, back in the 80s playing 8-bit games. So do not talk to me about graphics.
Yeah, there's some old school games that I would still play now, and they're just as good. Like me and my brother were playing Star Wars Empire at War, and like we got a sort of a mod, and it was like we bought it for like $5, and if it weren't for the fact that the multiplayer is a bit glitchy, unfortunately, but it is such a good game. But all they've done is somebody's come along, added a patch to make the graphics better, and it's amazing. It pisses on so many games now, if similar sort of RTS style, and it's fucking like 10 years old or something like that, and it's just
the Vampire Bloodlines, the Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines, which is getting a sequel later this year, but that was released back in about 20 years ago, and I keep coming back to play it. I mean, the graphics are a bit naff now compared to modern graphics, but the story is just so good, the immersion, the characters, and that's what draws people back.
There is a big thing with video games because especially with the Nintendo Switch, which is probably my most play console out of all of them. They do seem to be porting a lot of games, not just previous Nintendo games, but they are going into some real history with video games. One that I've seen in particular is the Siberia games, which I remember playing the first. Yeah, I remember playing the first one of them years ago on PC, and it hasn't aged well, but in terms of storytelling, in terms of presentation, it feels so good to still play a game like that. It is really fun. It's very in depth, and I quite like that we have this platform that can still bring these kinds of games back, because maybe you haven't played them before and you've wanted to have a go at them, or maybe you want to maybe go back to them. And some people do enjoy games more from 15 years ago, even though they might not look as good as games are now. But it's not always about how they look, it's about how they play and about how you are able to get into them.
100%,
Knights of the Old Republic, the first Knights of the Old Republic game is still one of my favourite games of all time. And that, that's 17 years old now, but it still looks decent for what it was. It does hold up pretty well, and that is a game I would actually love to see come to Switch or come onto Xbox again or something, because I'd love to just play that through again.
Yeah.
I want a proper sequel, not what we got.
Yeah, another Knights 3. Yeah, that would be good. I don't think they would now.
No.
I think the time has passed a bit too much. It's like Force Unleashed. First Force Unleashed game was pretty good. Second one, bit disappointing, but I kind of wanted a third. I wanted them to give like a nice conclusion to what was obviously going to be a trilogy, and they're just like, no, we're not doing a third one.
The second one I completed in 6 hours. I was so disappointed, because I was just like, I bought it, I was like, sweet, and I played it, and I remember playing it and completing it before I went out the Rock Kitchen that night. So I was just like,
it was a very quick game.
Well, Star Wars games like that. What was it? Nintendo GameCube, and I bought Star Wars Bounty Hunter, and I've never had more fun on a Bounty Hunter game than playing as Jango Fett. Because you had the main storyline, but then you had like offset storyline with going after bounties and stuff like that, and I thought that was great. But Matt, you were on about Call of Duty, whatever, where you just blow things into the ground, just punch the ground as a whole. There was a game back in 2010 which I still play today on the Xbox 360, which is Battlefield Bad Company.
Yeah.
And to this day, it's still one of the Call of Duty-esque games where you can fire a rocket launcher at a wall and not just have a black mark, but actually a hole through the wall.
Well, the thing is, the Battlefield games have been like that. The Battlefield games have always tried. Like, I've been into Battlefield since Battlefield 1942. It was one of those series. Again, it was like there was two series of games that I've always sort of kind of gravitated towards: Total War games, which I've had since Total War Shogun, and the Battlefield games from Battlefield 1942. And the whole thing with them was bigger battles, more orientated towards team play, and you could blow shit up. But the thing is with Battlefield is there is still things like you can blow up a wall, you can blow through a wall, you can destroy a building, but you get stuck on skips. Like, I had a tank and I was like, blew through this wall, and then I couldn't get through an alleyway because there was a skip in the way, or a bin, and I was just like, come on, stuff like this.
You're a tank, blow a skip up.
Yeah, and it's just like, even like blowing craters into the ground and things, explosions, and you just kind of want to see stuff like that. And it's just like, it's like, graphics are good, just leave them alone and work on something where it's just like I have, my coding is complicated, so I'm assuming it takes a lot more than Matt just going, blow holes in the ground. I want holes in the ground. But, just focus on, I want something different. I want to go into a game and go, holy shit, you can do something different than, it's the same sort of thing. You're running around, and instead of being able to shoot somebody with a jump pack, you can wall run now, or you can do something. And it's the same thing. It's just like, come on, I want something different. I want to see.
I can see EA games listening and go, Matt wants more.
Well, if suddenly there's this new series of games coming out, and things like you're just getting blown up, there's big holes in the walls and in the ground and shit, and they're like, you heard it here. They must be listening.
But the thing is one thing about video games at the moment, in particular, when a game they know has done really well. Instead of trying to get a sequel going, more often now you're seeing just these expansions. You're seeing these DLCs that are coming out. Good example is Mortal Kombat 11, which I really enjoyed. Technically, it's a brilliant fighting game. Story is a little bit so-so, but then
The story has always been so-and-so.
No, but the last few games, Mortal Kombat and Mortal Kombat X really did ramp up the storyline, and it was really engaging. Yeah, and then Mortal Kombat 11, obviously, they done a DLC, which was a storyline DLC as well. So you got, be honest, I think I'd done it in about just over 3 hours. So it wasn't that long, but they obviously expanded, and the story that they did focused more on the DLC characters. So they were taking people that weren't key to the original MK11 story, and they've done this expansion, and it's actually pretty good. It's quite engaging. And one of the best things about it is the actor that played Shang Tsung in the 1995 Mortal Kombat film. They've got him back to play Shang Tsung. Yes. And it's so cheesy, but it's just so enjoyable at the same time.
We've got the new Mortal Kombat film coming out soon, don't we? So
yeah,
and apparently it's meant to be R-rated as well. So
yeah, the only thing because I know that they've casted quite weirdly for that. They've decided to get a lot of degraded actors. They've wanted to get people that they don't want to push for names. They want to try and push on the actual title itself. The only person I can think off the top of my head who is going to be in it is the one that played Jimmy Olsen in Supergirl. He's going to be playing Jax in
Mehcad Brooks is Jax.
Mehcad Brooks, that's it. Yep.
Nothing against Mehcad Brooks, but no.
Do you remember that Mortal Kombat YouTube film? That 8-minute.
Oh yes.
That was a really good. Yeah, that was a really good interpretation of the Mortal Kombat game.
Michael as Jax, that was pretty good.
I wanted to see that. Yeah, Jay Ryan. I think I wanted to see that version. That was really good.
Well, they kind of did, because they then done the series, but the series was then almost like a soft reboot of that film, which slightly disappointing, because it didn't seem like they were really pushing for something really epic and really grand. And don't get me wrong, the series was entertaining, but it was basically just, the first season was just origins for every character. It was just like no real story. It was just like yes, this is how we got Sub-Zero. Oh, this is how we got Melina. This is how, it's just this is how Jax got his robot arms. And then I think even in season 2, they recast half of the cast as well, and they just like, this guy is now Jax, this guy is now Sub-Zero. So
it was a missed opportunity, to be fair.
But then, sorry, I was just gonna say, I really hope that when Mortal Kombat does come out, this film, I really hope it is going to carry on the trend of video game movies, because as we've noticed in the last few years, video game films have really crept up, and we haven't really had an R-rated video game movie for a while. So obviously we had Sonic the Hedgehog, which was pretty enjoyable. Pokemon
Sonic the Hedgehog was R-rated.
No, I haven't had
I would watch that,
dude.
Yeah. Oh, can you imagine Sonic the Hedgehog being R-rated? Yeah, Sonic, I'm gonna fuck you up. No, but I really enjoyed Sonic, and I actually rewatched it a couple of days ago for a second time, and I still think it holds up really well as a video game movie. And yeah, I have hopes for Mortal Kombat, and apparently there's also Monster Hunter coming out soon as well.
Yeah,
Mila Jovovich.
Yep.
And that one I don't really have hope for.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, gents. I think we're gonna have to leave it there, because we've gone for about an hour and 35, and I'm very mindful that if we have one of these every week, that my space in my Libsyn thing's probably gonna get eaten up pretty quickly and stuff. So, and I'll have to pay more if we do super long episodes. And unfortunately, I just bought myself a really expensive Hulkbuster, and it's very tight at this very moment. It's one of those things that you look at and that's super pretty. It's beside me here, and it's like, oh, it's super pretty, but I'm just like, buyer's remorse.
I just have visions that you're polishing it every day. So goes, got to keep its value. Got to keep its value.
Oh, my fucking daughter! The box is behind me. And I haven't moved upstairs yet. And we went out yesterday to go to the shop. And my dog, because he's getting used to us being around all the time, has gone back to not liking it when we're out all the time. And because he's a big ass bear dog, if he starts scratching at things, and he fucking scratched at that box, and I nearly killed him. I was just like, you nearly destroyed the integrity of the box. I was like, Buzz, you can destroy anything in this house, but if you just do that, I'm gonna kill you. He chewed up one of my collectibles when he was a puppy, and I had to just sort of accept it. And I was just like, you're just a puppy. It's okay.
I just had this vision of you going, I'm just going to go into the next room for a minute. And then as you go away, just your face is in the pillow going, ah! Okay, I'm back.
Yeah, it was more the fact.
That was it. It's like...
Yeah, my ex had been going on about, because he had chewed up a bunch of her stuff, and I was just sitting there going, look, if you're going to leave that stuff out, he's a puppy, if you're going to leave that things out, he's going to chew it. It's your responsibility. It's like a child. You have to make sure they're out of the way. And obviously, I forgot to move one of my collectibles, and he decided to chew it up, and I had to come in and just go, that's fine. I'm okay with that. Walked out with its chewed up sort of thing going, oh, okay. And yeah, it was very upsetting. There you go. Okay, so yes, we're going to leave it there. So thank you very much for everybody who's popped in to have a listen. Please do subscribe. We're on Spotify, we're on Apple, we're on pretty much all podcasting sort of things. So please subscribe, download it. That would be awesome.
Leave a review as well. Say how good we are.
Yes.
Or not.
Indeed. So everybody from Twitch, Facebook, YouTube, if you've been watching, thank you very much. For everybody who is listening on our podcast, thank you very much for listening. We are on most weeks, every week. Hopefully, generally Sundays, unless we have to organize things. So please drop in, have a chat with us. It's all good. And for anybody who's watching now, tomorrow night, myself, Pete, Ben Fee, Daniel Delargy, and Mark Canty are carrying on the second part of our Dungeons and Dragons one-shot mystery tour that's going on. So yeah, tour. I think currently Daniel's character and Ben's character are drinking with a gnome bard called Periwinkle, and have just passed out on the table downstairs and Pete and Mark, being responsible adventurers, have gone to bed early.
Studying.
Yeah, studying. So
yes, I am.
That will be starting tomorrow, hopefully around about 8 o'clock. But hopefully that'll be quite enjoyable. So yes, anyway, thank you very much everybody for joining me. I've been Matt Geary. With me tonight has been Peter Ray Allison.
You're on.
Jon Jo Cosgrove.
See y'all later.
And Josh Varney.
Adios, kids.
See you later.